Magic Tea House, Book number 29, A Big Day for Baseball, by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 5, Foul Ball. Jack kept an eagle eye on all the players. He watched the Dodgers take their positions on the field. He watched the Braves batter choose a bat and head to home plate. He watched the Dodgers pitcher wind up and throw. The Braves batter hit the ball hard. It landed outside the foul line. Foul ball, called the umpire. Jack jumped up and ran to get the ball. He tossed it smoothly to the umpire at home plate. Then he returned to his stool. Now and then the wind gusted through the ballpark, but each time Jack grabbed his cap to make sure it stayed on his head. The pitcher pitched another ball. The batter swung his bat. He missed. Strike! The pitcher pitched again. The batter hit a ground ball. He dropped his bat and ran toward first base. The pitcher snatched up the ball and threw it. The first baseman caught it just before the batter reached the base. Out! Called the first base umpire. The Dodgers fans cheered. The Braves fans booed. Annie picked up the player's bat and returned it to the dugout. Jack darted to home plate and gave new baseballs to the umpire. As the game went on, Jack and Annie stayed in the center of the action, but they never got in the way. Annie picked up bats that the players dropped and replaced them in the rack. Jack kept a close eye on all the baseballs. He counted the ones that went into the stands. He raced after foul balls. He carried 3 balls to the umpire for every 3 lost. Fans cheered and booed. If the musicians in the stands didn't agree with an umpire's call, they played 3 blind mice. Finally, the Braves had 3 outs. It was time for the Dodgers to bat. Now their bat boys would look after the balls and bats. Jack and Danny headed to the clubhouse to get more water and towels for their team. "Hey, kid," a Braves coach pointed at Jack. "Move down the line." Jack understood perfectly. Holding onto his cap, he jogged out to center field. Jack sat on a stool close to the stands. His job was now to retrieve ground balls outside the foul lines. Within minutes, a foul rolled into right field. Jack ran and grabbed it. He tossed it perfectly to a Dodgers bat boy. "Yes," Jack said to himself. He couldn't wait to throw again. He sat back on his stool, pressed his cap down on his head, and waited eagerly for more ground balls. But as the Dodgers kept batting, no more balls came Jack's way. For the first time, he had a moment to think. Why did Morgan send us to this particular game? Jack wondered. Why did she call it a big day for baseball? Why did Otis say it was a big day too? So far, the game was pretty ordinary, Jack thought. It was even a little boring. Plus, how was being a bat boy supposed to make him a great player? He had only thrown a couple of balls, and he wouldn't get to bat at all. "Hey, bat boy!" a kid called from the stands behind him. More souvenir seekers, Jack thought. "An autographed ball!" another kid yelled. Jack ignored the kids shouting. He refused to look over his shoulder. "A Dodgers cap! A Braves cap! Your cap!" The begging soon turned to heckling and booing. "Go home! Go back where you came from!" What do they mean? Thought Jack. Can they tell I'm from Frog Creek? He tried to ignore all the shouting, but the hecklers sounded different now. Their voices had grown harsh and mean. They sounded like grown-ups, not kids. "You don't belong here. Throw him out, Ump." Jack started to get angry. This was more than just annoying. "Get out of here," another heckler shouted. Jack couldn't help it. He whirled around and yelled, "You get out of here." To his surprise, Jack saw that the hecklers weren't yelling at him or even looking at him. "Don't let him bat," someone shouted. "Throw him out," said another. They were shouting at the Dodgers player who was up at bat. Many in the stands were cheering for him, but these few were yelling really mean things. Why? Jack looked around. The batter was the black player he'd seen earlier. He seemed to be the only black player in the game. Is that why these people are yelling? Jack wondered. The batter hit a ground ball to third base. The third baseman grabbed it. He threw it to first. "Out!" the umpire shouted. "That's right, throw him out," a woman shrieked. Jack was stunned. He didn't understand. The player ignored the jeers and walked calmly back to the dugout. He held his head high. Jack wished he could go talk to the player. He wanted to say something kind and supportive. Suddenly, a new batter hit a ground ball to left field. It was outside the line. "Foul!" the umpire shouted. Jack ran to get the ball. At the same time, a kid jumped over the wall of the stands. The kid ran to get the foul ball too. Jack got there first, but as he bent down to grab the ball, the wind blew his cap off. The other boy snatched Jack's cap from the grass and took off. Chapter 6. Go! "Hey!" shouted Jack. "Give that back!" Jack had to get his cap, but first he had to get rid of the ball he was holding. A Dodgers bat boy at home plate held up his glove. Jack hurled the ball toward him, but his throw didn't go very far. It nearly hit the umpire at first base. The umpire yelled at Jack. So did some fans. Jack was in shock. He didn't know what to do. He looked around for the kid who had stolen his cap, but the kid was gone. The umpire shouted something to a security guard on the sidelines. The guard started toward Jack. Jack began running along the outfield wall toward the dugout. He had to get Annie. They had to get out of the ballpark. Jack didn't see Annie in the Braves' dugout, so he dashed inside the clubhouse. He grabbed his bag and threw it over his shoulder. Then he looked around wildly. No one was there. "Annie!" Jack shouted. "Annie!" "What?" she called back. Jack tore around the corner. He found Annie filling water jugs in the kitchen area. "We have to go!" Jack cried. "Some kid stole my cap. A security guard is after me." "Oh no," said Annie. The door to the clubhouse banged open. Annie rushed over to Jack. She pulled off her magic cap and placed it on his head. Then she hid behind the door. The guard and the clubhouse manager came around the corner to the kitchen area. "Hello, kid," the guard said, nodding at Jack. He was the same guard who'd brought them into the ballpark. "Hello," said Jack. Annie's cap made him feel calm and confident again. "Did you see a young boy come in here?" the guard asked. "A young boy?" Jack asked. "A skinny little guy wearing glasses," the guard said. "He was trespassing on the field." "Oh, no, sir," said Jack, shaking his head. "I didn't see a skinny little guy." "Okay." The guard turned to the clubhouse manager. "Let's check outside." As they turned to go, the manager spied Annie behind the door. "Hey, what are you doing in here, missy?" he said. "I'm a bat boy," said Annie. "No, you're not," "You're a little girl," said the manager. "You can't be in here," shouted the guard. "We'll lose our jobs." "Wait," said Jack. He pulled off the magic cap and tossed it to Annie. She put it on and looked up. "See, I'm a bad boy," she said. The clubhouse manager and the guard looked very confused. They squinted at Annie. "Oh, I see that now," the manager grumbled. "Well, we'd better look outside." But as the guard turned to Jack, he gasped. "Wait a minute, you're the little kid we're looking for." "No, he's not," said Annie. "He's a bad boy." She pulled off the magic cap and tried to put it on Jack's head. The guard snatched it away from her. "I'll take that." "I don't know what's going on here," said the manager, "but you kids have to get out now." Can we take the water jugs to the guys first?" said Annie. "The team is thirsty." "No!" yelled the clubhouse manager and the guard together. "March!" said the guard. Jack and Annie headed for the door. Outside the clubhouse, the security guard pointed toward the exit. "That way," he said. Jack kept his head down as he walked with Annie. The two men followed them. Jack hoped no one was watching. When he heard laughter, he was sure people were laughing at them. "Hurry up," ordered the manager. Jack and Annie stepped from the open park onto the ramp. They walked ahead of the guard and the manager through a turnstile. Then they headed into the huge round lobby. Ticket sellers gawked at them as they crossed the room. The guard and the manager led them out through one of the doors. Outside on the street, Annie stopped and looked at the manager. "Sir, remember, keep going," the guard said. "Remembered when you said, 'Good job, boys'?" Annie said. "That was us." The manager ignored her. "Go," he said. He pointed down the street. "And don't ever come anywhere near this ballpark again. Never again."